On his first big trip to Africa, US President Barack Obama has been keen to talk up what he calls his new model for engagement with the continent. By that, he means business. And he also might mean, although he doesn't say it, playing catch-up to China, which is already heavily involved in building the infrastructure the continent needs, importing cheap manufactured products to sell to Africa's growing number of consumers, and digging out its valuable minerals for export. At every turn, Mr. Obama has met CEOs, talked about win-win solutions that create jobs for the US and deliver economic development for Africa. And he has pointed out that the world's fastest growing economies are to be found on the continent that many have too easily written off before as a perennial failure.
So I'm calling for America to up our game when it comes to Africa. We're bringing together business leaders from America and Africa to deepen our engagement. We're going to launch new trade missions and promote investment from companies back home.
While US companies already do business in mining, contracting and agriculture, it's certainly a departure in terms of tone and a recognition there is room for a lot more growth. After all, American involvement in Africa has more usually focused on aid and security, spending billions on supporting African armies, drone bases and counter-terrorism. And even in the last hours of his three-nation, six-day tour, Mr. Obama laid a wreath to commemorate those killed in attacks that targeted the US in 1998. One August day, Al-Qaeda launched its first large-scale successful attack on the US. It bombed its embassies in both Nairobi and Dar es Salaam at the same time, killing hundreds and injuring thousands. It was a trip tinged with emotion elsewhere too, as he visited a former slave fort in Senegal and met with the family of ailing Nelson Mandela, his personal hero, in South Africa. Son of a Kenyan, Mr. Obama nevertheless skipped his African homeland, citing the international issues around the International Criminal Court. The ICC has indicted new President Uhuru Kenyatta for crimes against humanity for his alleged role in post-election violence 5 years ago.
The timing was not right for me as the President of the United States to be visiting Kenya when those issues are still being worked on and hopefully at some point resolved.
But Mr. Obama was also keen to stress a series of new initiatives. The US will hold several business summits on Africa next year, wants to boost intra-African trade and, most significant, will put $7 billion towards a new joint public-private scheme to double the subcontinent's access to electricity. If he can deliver, it promises exactly the sort of scale and potential impact the continent may come to thank him for. Katrina Manson, Nairobi, Financial Times.